Hey, everybody, welcome to another fabulous episode of the Suzette Speak Show. We're here today to provide you with some really interesting information. If you're in business, if you're looking to grow for investment purposes or startup purposes, this is the show for you. I have an expert. You see her there. Her name is Miss Genevieve Carvil-Harris, and she is a business coach and consultant that helps people get to the bag, y'all. And she's going to be sharing some secrets. Yes, secrets to crowdfunding. If you've ever thought about doing it yourself, which is basically raising money, raising capital, as they say in business, she is the one apparently in that space. So, welcome. How are you?
Oh, hello. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to get to know you. And through our conversation, I'm sure our viewers will get a lot of good information as well. If you're watching, go ahead and hit the like button and please let me know you're watching in the chat. I see so many of you. Hey, RM, one of my fantastic moderators already in the building. Patrice, what's up? She's our connection, actually.
Yes.
Patrice Reed, aka the PR networker in the house, and one of my previous guest, yes, yes, Adrian Cadillac Bell. You guys go back and watch Build a Brother. The inner thoughts of Black men was a great show,
It
and
was.
I'm grateful that he came on and blessed us with his knowledge. Great to see you, brother. Thank you for watching, and thank you. I see you, Miss AKA Lady. Okay, I'm gonna stop with the hellos because you know y'all I get carried away, but I'm grateful again for my audience, the Suzette speakers, as we call them are welcome you guys to ask questions. If you have curiosities about crowdfunding, let's go. So first and foremost, please introduce yourself, Genevieve.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody, again. I am so excited to be here. My name is Genevieve Carvil-Harris. We affectionately call me the world's favorite capacity building strategist. And essentially, what that's always meant is that I find out what people are capable of creating at the time that they start, and then where it is that they would like to go and the plans to get them there. So I always have the strategy to get them from point A all the way to point Z if that is what they're trying to do in a manner that's going to be effective and most importantly, profitable. And so everyone loves me for that. And the reason why I'm on the show tonight is because of crowdfunding. What I found over the years of being an entrepreneur is that a lot of times our entrepreneurs don't know where to find money. They have all the ideas in the world, and sometimes they're wonderful ideas, but they're scattered. And so if they're a scattered brain person, what happens is they're not able to focus and find clarity enough to get to the bag. And so Crowd Wall Street, which is the parent company of Crowd Wall Street Rewards, has started to have crowdfunding, which is just another way for people to finance their companies. Everyone knows about business credit. Everyone knows about just asking others to get money from a bank. But what about asking the crowd? And so that's
Oh,
what it
let's get into it. That's hey, they want to get to the bag, they said, and
Let's
I'm
go.
grateful
Let's
that you are
go.
here. So many questions already flowing. Welcome, DL Saint in the building. How are you? Good to have you on, brother. And I guess you brought folks with you. This Renata Irish. So
Meta.
that's my sister.
Yes.
Nice to have you, Renata. Welcome, welcome, one and all. Thank you for watching. If you're watching Team Replay, go ahead and hit the like button. We are doing work tonight, giving you some secrets, insider secrets on how to go about your crowdfunding journey. So, okay, so just don't want to assume that everybody understands what the word crowdfunding means. Can you explain what is meant by crowdfunding?
Absolutely, I can. So the truth of the matter is, everyone has been a part of a crowdfunding process before, but they just don't know because we weren't calling it crowdfunding. But if you can think about it, it's exactly what it says: raising money, raising capital from the crowd, as opposed to going to a bank or another institution of finance and getting a loan or getting money. What you do is you ask the crowd. Now, GoFundMe has helped people understand what crowdfunding is. But even more elementary than that is if you can think back to when we were in school and we would have a field trip or we would have something that we wanted to raise money for in our schools, we would always say, okay, we're going to have a bake sale now, or we're going to, if you're in a church, you're going to have the building fund. And we're not going to talk about whatever happened to those buildings. But you know what I'm talking about, the building fund, where you would give into something knowing that you would never have ownership of it, but that you're going to contribute to it so that you can see a greater good. Crowdfunding works the same way in business. So instead of just getting loans, or instead of going to the bank or using credit, you would ask investors to invest into your business or into the idea that you have to create a business so that you'll be able to use that capital and grow. That's what crowdfunding is.
Fantastic. I'm already like, okay, let me get my life together. And understanding this space, I'm sure is an asset. Oh, hold on, let me get on there. Is an asset to anybody going into business, needing to raise money for any reason. So we understand the concept of crowdfunding. And so how did you, before we get further, how did you get involved in crowdfunding?
Okay, so funny story. So during the COVID pandemic, and everyone was locked into their homes and secluded, I actually had the opportunity to be a part of the Cornell certificate program for women's entrepreneurship. And while we were in that program, one of the ways that they taught us to raise capital for our businesses was crowdfunding. And I was like, what is that? Like, that really exists for us to do that? They called it like bootstrapping, asking your friends, asking your family. That's always the first level of crowdfunding. Hey, I want to start a business. Mom, dad, aunties, uncles, cousins, can you all just invest in me so that I can get the equipment that I need, maybe the software that I need, and I don't have to do this by myself. So I started to really get like, oh, this is interesting. Maybe this is something that I can get into helping people, because I know that people, especially women and people of color, are always the last ones to the party. By the time we find out about things, they're already happening.
Done.
Behind the 8 ball. So I said, well, how can I get involved? And happened to meet actually during something just like this, a live workshop, a live seminar. I actually met my business partners who were talking about how they, as men of color, wanted to get into the crowdfunding space. And so we all collaborated and started Crowd Wall Street, just like Black Wall Street. We started Crowd Wall Street to say we can bring the crowd to Wall Street, i.e., bringing the crowd to the investment portal and help them start their businesses.
I love it. So we're going to get into what is Crowd Wall Street. Okay, startup, do your thing. And I'm sure you probably needed crowdfunding to start the business to help others with crowdfunding, which is ironic. But shout out to everybody watching. I see y'all in the chat. Hit the like button. She also has a website, guys. It's also in the description, whether you're watching on Facebook. Shout out to those watching on Facebook, or if you're watching on the Suzette Speaks YouTube channel. You can go to Moments into Millions. Am I saying it right? Moments into Millions to check out Sister Genevieve Carvil-Harris, so that you can become more adept to what she's talking about and more engaged in what crowdfunding. Listen, Scam Likely in the building, talking about another woman with gleaming white teeth. Listen, we keep the teeth up. He's so funny. Welcome, sir. Good to have you on. Andrew, what's up? I beg you $1. Listen, okay, here we go. This is listen, we are in the right frame of mind, Andrew. Thank you. And we're talking to, again, Genevieve Carvil-Harris. So let me get into what your company, your startup does. So tell us about Crowd Wall Street.
Yes. Okay. So Crowd Wall Street, there's 2 ways that we crowdfund. So Crowd Wall Street has an equity-based crowdfunding platform, and we also have a reward-based crowdfunding platform. And so I want to explain to both of them without being very overwhelming. So I want you all to think about 2 pictures, right? The first picture is going to be Shark Tank. Most people know and can recognize Shark Tank, where an investor is sitting across from someone who has started a company and is listening to what it is that they're doing and what they need capital for. I remember growing up, it was really hard for me to understand why the people on Shark Tank needed money if they could start saying, well, I made $1 million last year and I made 200,000 last year. I was like, well, what are they asking for money for? And what would happen at that point is that the entrepreneur has already exhausted all of the means that they have, all of the capital that they already had access to. And so now they're asking another investor to invest in their company for what we would call equity, which means for a small piece of my company, I will receive your money and then you'll receive ownership of my company. So you'll hear them say, okay, I'm going to do 15%, 20%, 30% sometimes in these deals because they need that last bit of money to get them over the hump to actually make their company scale and grow. So that's equity-based crowdfunding. In order for us to do that, we actually had to get approval from the SEC and FINRA, which are our government regulated entities that actually gave us the ability to be able to do equity-based crowdfunding. And that happened actually this month last year. And so we became the fourth ever, but the third operating SEC and FINRA funded Black-owned company in the United States since inception.
Yes.
So,
wow. Congrats, congrats.
Thank you. So we're excited about that because that was a year ago. So we're still celebrating that. But the other picture is the reward base. So remember what I told you about the bake sale, about the building fund, which is saying Suzette wants to make a difference. She's getting ready to launch something great. She's getting ready to do that. She can come on the platform, and what she will do is she will give rewards to the speakers, right? She'll say, hey, if you all would like to be a part of my inner circle and you give $1,000 to be a part of my inner circle, then I will go ahead. Like if you give $1,000, I'll give you access to the inner circle. That's reward based, right? You give $25, I'll give you a t-shirt. That's reward based. So long as Suzette gives you what she promised to give you, you got the reward and she got the capital to grow her business. And so
equity-based, reward-based. So equity is verified by the SEC, by federal agencies, so that you can have investors come along who want to buy shares or buy parts of the ownership of a company. In exchange of their cash, they get part ownership. And then the other one, what are you calling it?
Reward-based.
Reward. I was like, bootstrap. Wait. Yes. Reward-based. Give me right.
It's reward-based.
So, which is an exchange for, and I think I went to somebody's event like this. Y'all check out, hopefully, my new headshot. I have a couple new headshots, yes. And a lady had provided like a headshot night, and she said it was a fundraiser for her company. So she charged us really, probably should have been more, but it was like $30. And you got a headshot, and you got like drinks and hors d'oeuvres and a cute little evening. And it was really nice. And she was like, yeah, this is towards, I think hers was like a wine business. And I was like, fun. I hope she made good money or had good startup costs, or maybe people donated now that I'm thinking about these services, et cetera, so that she could actually use the funds. But it was a reward. So I'm feeling you, and I'm getting the gist of this. I have a couple questions already in the chat. Welcome, everybody. Glad that you're here. You can feel free to speak. This is the Suzette Speak Show. So come through on the chat. Miss AKA Lady, thank you, darling, says, at what point in your business plan is it appropriate to start asking for money? Now, we was going to get into tips, but go ahead and jump right in. Ready. Listen, we stay ready over here.
I love it.
What would you say?
I would say, honestly, first of all, and I want to be very, very clear, because I think that technology, especially as we continue to progress and move into AI, we're moving away from the typical business plan model that we used to have in order to make money in this country. So what I want to say to you is make sure that you know that you have a clear message that you can articulate. What is it that you are trying to do? What problem are you solving? And how much money does it really take to solve that problem for your target audience? If you can understand that and put that into a plan, then it's going to be much easier to get someone to invest in it, because everyone wants to know that they're going to get a return on their investment. So if you're at the point where you're planning your business and you have figured out how people can get a return on their investment, then you're ready to start asking for money, because people are going to want to know, when I give you this money, how soon can I expect to receive it back? And then what's going to be the benefit to me? Like, how much more money am I going to get because I chose to invest in you? So as you do your business plans, a lot of people go to the templates, and that's completely fine. But if you have a template and you can't explain the problem that you're solving and how people are going to spend money in order to get that problem solved, then you're really going to run into a lot of headaches before you can even start asking.
Let's break it all the way down, sis, because I've had people, I don't know where it has ever said that Suzette writes business plans, but I've had people approach me talking about, can you write me a business plan? I'm like, you probably need to write your own business plan, madam, so that you will know
Right.
what
You need
you
to
trying
do
to
it
do
yourself.
and
Exactly.
where you trying to go. It's
Mhm.
not from my brain to create a whole business for you.
Exactly.
You want and oh, what fee? I actually never advertised that. Thank you, but good try. But the point is, I agree with you. Sometimes the clarity, even for myself and others I know in my circle, this is probably the most important step that oftentimes gets kind of overlooked,
Yes,
or sometimes we assume that we know what we want our outcomes to be, and we're
absolutely.
kind of flowing trying to find that outcome,
Yep.
and we can't explain it, and we don't know what that return really will become. So it's
Yep.
very important, I think, as simple as that sounds, it's as critical as she explains. Because if we are unsure of why it is we need money, or what we're doing with this money, or what the outcome we want to produce
Yep.
with this money will be,
Yep.
you're confused, and it's not going to allow you to be clear either to your target audience, or to potential investors, or to crowdfunding,
Mhm.
um, which I say supporters. So you got to be really, really clear. Growing your message is great, but finding out what your message is first. Hold up. I'm just saying. Let me see. Thank you, Miss AKA Lady. She says the Small Business Development Center, or SBA group, is a great help for small businesses trying to get a plan together. Thank you. So
They are.
let me also say, yes, perhaps people do need more help than
Yep.
maybe what I assume. I'm like, if you're going into business, you've got to understand some basics. And they have free ones online too.
Yep.
But if you do need help, thank you, Miss AKA Lady. There are definite resources. And I'm sure you also do. You help people get their business plans together?
Well, I actually don't help them get their business plans together. What we do on the platform, which is a great thing to mention, is that if someone wants to participate in crowdfunding, some of the same things that you need to be figuring out for that business plan is what you need to be able to articulate. Why? Because you have to pitch to investors, right? The same way that you would on Shark Tank is the same way that you're pitching, but you may have to do that online through a deck, is what we call it, a pitch deck,
Hmm.
where you can
Hmm.
say, this is what it is that I'm asking for. This is the background of my company. This is my expertise. I'm able to actually accomplish what I'm saying that I need this money for. And then you pitch to the individuals, and then they get to, like GoFundMe, give to you based on whatever rewards you want to give. So I don't do the business plans, but I make sure that business plan makes sense before
Right.
we upload it to a platform for
Cool.
support.
So she's like step two, guys. So I get it. So step one, you really have to figure out the problem that you solve, right?
Mhm.
How do you do it differently? How do you do it more cheaply, more
Ab-
uniquely, whatever, more enjoyably? And then once you have some of that foundation in place, then you're ready to ask for money. But you can't put the cart before the horse and ask for money first and
And
then get yourself together. It kind of doesn't work that way. And then it will lead to probably disappointment in terms of your outcomes when you're trying to raise capital, when nobody want to support. Well, maybe you have to
absolutely,
have some firm understanding of what it is you're asking them for and why.
absolutely.
So let's go into some tips. So what do you see people do right? What do you should people be careful of before they get to you, or other helpful things that are, our novice people like myself or anybody else who's just trying to crowdfund for the first time,
Mhm.
whether they're doing the equity way or the reward way? What tips do you want to start with?
Okay, the first tip that I would say is start with rewards. You do
Okay.
not want to try to give equity to your company too early. I've seen
Mm.
so many people give ownership away before you even know if what you have is viable and worth the investing, but you want
Oh,
the
wow.
capital. So you just start saying, okay, well, I'll give you 5% and I'll give you 5%. And by the time you're ready to get in front of investors, you don't even own enough of your company to have a really good stance in front of them. So
Mm.
I would say start with rewards, start with the simple things that you can exchange that would help your business as well. Imagine if you have a t-shirt company and you're getting ready to start a new line, but you don't have the capital to get the mass orders. What you would do is have a crowdfunding, and what you would say is, hey, when I get my t-shirts in, you all will be the first ones to get the t-shirts. They just helped you produce what it is that you need to produce. And so that's how one hand washes the other. But if you're already trying to get investors to actually start owning your company, you're already putting the cart in front of the horse. So you need
Mm.
to take a step back and say, what can I give in order to receive? Because we don't do that enough as businesses. We have to remember that we've started our businesses to help people. in some way, shape, or form. All of us answer a question or a problem that people have. And so the minute that you stop doing that and you just want the money, you've already lost in business and you're not going to be sustainable anyways.
Yeah, she's speaking truth, y'all. So the idea that you want to immediately give away, and I've seen that. If y'all watch Shark Tank, it's a really great show, because when people have already had non-angel investors, like real equity owners, and then when they get the Shark Tank and then they're saying, well, I've already sold 10, 20, 30% of my company for this type of like loan or something else, or line of credit, I should say. It gets difficult when you want to bring people in, because now it's like, wait, all 6 of us own this, all 10 of us own this, or whatever it is. So how you raise money initially will affect your business in the long run. For sure. And I love watching Shark Tank for that reason, because I'm like, the negotiating as an attorney, I love anyway. But beyond that, how they value the business valuation. And where they have been to grow it themselves. Some of them take money out their house and all this other stuff. And depending on what kind of capital and startup money they need, it depends on what you're going to do. So I like the fact that you're just pointing out that the way we fundraise doesn't always have to be giveaway ownership, right? You can start with rewards. And like I said, I just went to something that I didn't even know the lady, somebody invited me to. I just wanted a headshot, honestly. And I went, and it was such a pleasant surprise. It was a great networking night. I was thinking about doing one. I was like, well, I can do one of these.
As you absolutely should. You absolutely should.
I was like, this is great. A great startup. And again, I didn't know her, but if she got $30 a person for, and maybe things was donated so she could rock. I thought about that. I was like, good for her for finding a way. Her goal was to bring her wine down into Florida. She was in probably Virginia or DC or Baltimore, somewhere, Maryland, somewhere up there. And she was just like, I really want to get my wine here. So it was really interesting to talk to someone who is following your blueprint, basically.
That's exactly what it is. And so even to that point, one of the other things that I think that I find people having a real struggle with when it comes to crowdfunding, but in business in general, is that you cannot be an antisocial entrepreneur. You have to get out here and talk to people. You can have the best idea in the world. You can have the best product, the best service, and you can do it better than anyone else in your market. But if you don't talk to people, if you don't have a network, if you're not reaching out and following up with people who have reached out to you in the past, because that's really where we mess up. We ask one time and then we never follow up. So you have to make sure that you are putting yourself in front of more faces, start meeting new people. And when you do that, tell them about the problem that you solve. Even if they don't need it, they know someone who does. And so that's the way that you can start to build your network and your support and actually have organic marketing, because to do all of that work to get on a platform and then can't share the fact that you're ready to receive donations doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's I think sometimes eye-opening what people think they need and who they think they can get it from. Like sometimes we don't, I have cousins that tell me all the time, you underestimate your network. You underestimate your network, the people that you know. Some of us could probably think, I could write down maybe 10 people I could ask for something, or maybe 20. I've had a friend girl in this same project, and you know what it was for? It was for running for office. And you know what she told me? She said, Sue, if you don't have 1,000 people you can write down, you're not ready to run for office. I said, what?
Absolutely.
Not that I'm ready to run for office now. I'm not saying I am. But listening to her journey, it was, again, a meetup around that. Women in politics. I'm going to get some women in this space in just a second. But yeah, I was thinking about how much, again, bootstrapping, going out, making phone calls. You don't have to necessarily knock on doors. It's more like nowadays a text or a phone call.
Exactly.
But she was like, I have I think she told me like a couple thousand contacts that are real contacts that she's close enough to. She went back to her law school days. I think her high school people, all these folks that she knew to create a base of fundraising for her campaign. So whether it was $5 or $50, every bit really helped her. And it was just amazing listening to her story.
It really does. And what you're speaking to right now, I tell all of my clients in general, you mentioned moments into millions. I essentially help people start their businesses and get capital. But what I realized is that people don't use crowdfunding, and that was just a dead space. And I'm like, it's very much so alive and well. We use it, we just don't know that we can use it. And reward-based crowdfunding, there is no limit. Please hear me. There is no limit to the amount of money that you can raise when you are doing reward-based crowdfunding. When you are going through a regulation CF or crowdfunding that we talked about with equity, you have to do under 5 million. So 5 million and under if it's CF. There's others like Slutty Vegan, the one that she used, the platform that she used, which is really not the platform per se, but the manner in which you use that, that's regulation D. And she was able to get $25 million because
Slutty Vegan. Y'all, sorry, that's the actual name of the restaurant.
Yeah, no, that's
her name is Pinky. Yeah, Pinky. I talk like I know Pinky, but I've watched her grow. I've never been to Slutty Vegan, actually. I need to visit Atlanta or wherever else it is to go to a Slutty Vegan. But she crowdfunded $25
million.
Because not equity. Equity, you said?
It is. Mm-hmm.
Equity. Oh, wow.
She was able to get investors to give her $25 million towards her company. That's regulation D. We don't do regulation D. We do.
Okay, that's more than the 5 million. Okay, cool.
5 million, right? Yeah. She already had, like we talked about, that business plan, that return on investment. She was able to show that. And because she was able to show that, she was able to raise the 25 million. In her bracket, she would have been able to raise up to 75 million. Damn. So I want you to know that the two that we're talking about tonight, especially for those of us that are just getting started, just doing startups in the crowdfunding space, if you're doing equity, you can get up to $5 million. If you are doing reward-based and you decided that you wanted to raise $10 million, $100 million, and you had the network to do it, as long as you were giving the reward, you would be able to do so.
That's what's up. I'm so excited. There's so many possibilities. Shout out. Thank you for the Cash App. Thank you to my brother. I appreciate you so much. Adrian Cadillac Bell on the Cash App with the giving. I appreciate you, brother. And you were excellent again on your interview the other night. Yes. Oh, he's looking now. He said, so it's safe to say that the greater the investment made, the greater the reward. Sounds so. And it sounds like you don't even have to make your own, I guess, sweat equity. Time would be your biggest investment. Absolutely. To get your crowdfunding going. Absolutely. But as far as you having to spend a lot of money to get it going, you will be able to do it. Like I said, if I thought about this, and there's so many ways I can apply this. So whatever you need capital for, as she said, we've kind of been doing it regardless. So I appreciate you. Yes, hey, K Business Pod in the building. Another fantastic YouTuber, content creator around business, has been here. I appreciate you from day one. Oh, I didn't know that. He says, I did a crowdfund for my startup in 2017. Shout out to you, brother. So you are speaking his language and our language when it comes to trying to figure out, everybody want to start a business. Again, I don't think entrepreneurship is for everyone. I really don't. I think sometimes we get caught up in everybody want to own. Some people are cool with the 9-to-5, and that's good. Yeah. Some people want the side hustle too. That's good. Some people want to keep the job. Some people want to quit the job. We just had a lady yesterday talking. This is interesting. Talking about opportunities in senior care. Shout out to my sister, Miss Corey DeVoe. Last night we had a great show on ways to make money in the senior industry, and she was just talking about that. You know, sometimes people think they need a lot of money up front. She couldn't give a very specific amount that you would need to get into assisted living home or regular residential home. But the point is, there are ways for you to be able to buy one of those homes if that's what you really wanted to invest in without coming out of your own pocket so heavily. No, I did not announce my candidacy. You know I network, girl. You know I network. I go to y'all know I love a meetup. I plan them. Haven't planned any this year yet, but I always, anytime somebody mostly invites me to stuff, I'll go. And this one was about women in politics, and I just like politics in general. And a couple of the speakers really moved me. I was like, get it, sis. Like, you see people in, Miami, move in the same circles, but you really don't know their stories.
Yeah,
And it was a good one-on-one. She did mention this as her fundraising strategy, but she shared a lot more. But no, it wasn't for me to be in the arena just as yet. Thank you. Sandy V. Law, how are you? Another fabulous content creator. Girl, we gotta hang out. What you doing now? Let's get a Saturday. She's in Miami too. Let's get a Saturday date on the calendar, ma'am. Would love to see you and appreciate you. Okay, we gonna get to the book. Renata talking about her book, Activate. Teaching. So we're gonna get to the book. We're gonna get to the book. So Renata is looking out. I love it. Come through, Renata. She was like, don't forget. No, we won't forget. But you could definitely find more about Genevieve and her company, Crowd Wall Street, as a resource to you. Again, Moments into Millions. Momentsintomillions.com. It's in the description. You can find her as well on Insta, her link tree. Girl, you do it so much. That's why I told Patrice, I was like, girl, break me down what you want to talk about. Break me down what you want to talk about.
We're just trying to get everybody to the bag, really.
Yes.
And what happens is, what we find is that sometimes people come to us and they want to crowdfund and the logo isn't good and the business isn't set up properly. And so what I found was I was always doing consultant work on helping people get to their first 6 and 7 figures. And I said, why is it that even in this space, we can't excel the way that we need to, because we don't have our ducks in a row. We don't have things, our things aren't visually appealing. We don't have messaging that is catching the eyes of our target audience. So it always comes back down to these business essentials. So I do help people turn their moments, these ideas, these strategies into millions if that's what they want, but utilizing now crowdfunding, because you still need all of the same basic business fundamentals in order to be successful with it.
I love it. I love it. If y'all enjoying it, hit the like button, leave a comment. I'm getting so much strength from this convo because again, sometimes we think that things are out of our reach because our salary or our right now doesn't seem to allow for it. But especially those who do have this kind of bigger dream or desire for, it can be business and it can be other things. This is a way for you to kind of step back and say, maybe again, once your ducks is in a row now, again, that curb appeal. How does business look online? What's your website up to? What's your logo up to? First and foremost, as you said, build the foundation, get critique, get feedback first. Then you can step into this arena and get results, which is really what we wanted to bring to everybody tonight, so that you show up the best you can, so that when your opportunity you create presents itself, you can go for it, and you can do it reward based, or you can also do it equity. I love it. Adrian says, Jen is the best coach really in the world. Facts. Okay, Renata say facts, bro. I see you. Okay, I love it. If this is helpful, y'all hit the like button, or please comment, or please share so more people can hear about Genevieve and what she does. So any other tips you want to go through? And I want to ask you also now about your own personal journey. For first and foremost, thank you for what you already have shared. Are there any other general tips you want to give? And I know people can reach out to you more specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. I really just want people to understand, and I say this often, so I'm not going to leave here without saying it. Relationship is currency, especially now in a time when everyone is trying to figure out what makes the most sense to do. Everyone is a guru. Everyone is the business genius of the next generation. But really, you need to understand, what relationships are you building? Even as you were talking, Suzette, about the attorney that was raising funds, and she was able to show you how many people from middle school, from high school, from law school, from previous places of employment, how was she able to raise this money? By having relationships with people, because you can never underestimate what someone's belief in your future is going to turn into as it relates to money. So relationship is currency. Please know that, operate in that, and just continue to build relationships. You never know when those relationships are going to pay off.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So I want to ask you guys, if you're intrigued, go ahead. You can still leave questions in the chat. Thank you, Doug, on the super chat. Looking out. Doug is liking the information, and I really appreciate you always here. Stand up, Doug. Round of applause. Also moderating for me now and all that good stuff for a while now. So I appreciate you, Doug. Thank you for giving and your always generous feedback when it comes to what I'm doing over here. I appreciate you very much. So I wanted to ask you, Genevieve, as are you married? Are you single? Now people love all the business. We wouldn't go here unless she would allow me, y'all. People love the business. As we see Black women in this space and YouTube, we have a lot of pressure, and there are many boxes they want to put us in. And child, I'd be tired of it. So I always like to allow my guests, if they want to step, into a little bit of a personal side, whatever you're willing to share, and just talk about your journey. How have you balanced, right? Because they love to tell us we want the bag, we don't want the men, and we're like,
no, baby, we need both.
Hello. Somebody don't put me in no box. Don't put me in no box tonight.
We need both, honey. We need.
They want to act like you only want this, and you don't. Okay, so break it all the way down, sis. So, what was your journey in terms of finding your husband, et cetera, et cetera?
Yep. So, shout out to my husband, Brian. We've been married. This year is 9 years for us. We've been together this year 13 years.
Wow.
And so, Brian and I actually met each other doing ministry together. I do a bunch of things. And one of the things that is biggest in my heart is ministry and serving the community through the work that I do through the kingdom. And we actually were singing praise and worship for a friend, a mutual friend, my best friend, Siobhan from college. I went to the University of Miami. Shout out.
Oh, okay. To you. Okay.
So, he actually met me while we were singing together. And I always tell that story because of the fact that we met each other working, not trying to get together, right? We were able to met each other because a lot of people think that they should find their spouses while looking for their spouse, as opposed to saying what's important to you, what really matters to you, and are you all able to respect each other's work in that space? Like, he never, ever pressured me to give up my dreams and to give up my business goals. I'm an entrepreneur. My husband is not. He doesn't come from an entrepreneurial background. He doesn't come from a family of entrepreneurs, but at the same time, he wasn't intimidated by the fact that that I had that mindset and that I had dreams and goals. He actually just believed, so much so that he'll tell people now that he's just aspiring to be a work from home dad. Like, when we get he's like, oh no, I'm gonna work from home, honey. You go ahead, baby. You got it.
Go ahead. You can bring home the bacon and fry it up. Let's go.
I'm gonna make sure that I tend to the things that you need to have peace when you're home, right? But I found support, is what I'm saying. I found support in my friend, and then we were able to continue to grow. We always would say that we were just going to do things one day at a time. I don't even think we had relationship titles until maybe about 8-9 months into the relationship, because it was like, for what? We just knew we were building one day at a time, and we were going to see where it was going to lead. And it just so happens it's 13 years of us being together, 9 years of us being married. So.
Oh, wow. That is encouraging. So while doing what was important to you, shout out to Kent on the Cash App. Thank you, Kent. Always supportive of the platform, always showing love. And I appreciate you. If you're enjoying the conversation, y'all hit the like button, share, comment. Appreciate the gifts, guys. I really do. Thank you for supporting my content here on the Suzette Speak Show. So I appreciate you being so candid, my dear, because everybody has a different story, and finding a good person, a good match comes in various forms. I'm always curious. Girl, I was getting my toes done today. And this lady next to me took my mom to get our toes done. This lady next to me, that's why I was a little late, sorry.
So
but
this lady, it's so
I gotta do what we gotta do. So this lady, so this is my problem. Talking about relationships. People would always start up random conversations with me. I don't know if I have a welcoming spirit face, I don't know, but I'm like, oh, I'm getting my toes done, and now you're talking to me. Great. So this is like an older woman. I would put her in probably her late 60s, and I mean, we had no reason to be talking. She was just sitting in the chair next to me.
Yeah.
So it was cute. I think, did I comment first? I don't think I did. She was talking to me. She was just like trying to start up a conversation. And I was like, oh, okay, let me take my earbuds out. Here we go.
Yeah.
So she was telling me that it was her anniversary and she wanted to get her husband to come. And a woman her age, and it's so funny how people make assumptions about other people, me included, right? So a woman her age, if she's in late 60s, I am assuming she probably been married 30, 40 years. So she was like, yeah, I'm celebrating my 20th anniversary. I was like, oh, how nice. That means she was a grown woman. Hey, somebody.
She was grown.
Hey, somebody. When she found somebody, and she was like, yes, I wanted him to come, but he's a man's man. He's from Georgia. He didn't want to come. So, she was giving me the tea and like just talking. So, I want the real tea then. So then after she stops, I was like, so how did you meet him? She was kind of like, what? I was like, no. So since you wanted to volunteer, how great he is and how wonderful you feel that he's treating you to your nails today. Let's get to some, real helpful info. How did you meet him? So she was talking and she looked at me. She was like, kind of, why does this woman want to know that? I'm like, you don't want to open the door.
Honey, you put it up.
It was so she stopped. I noticed her voice kind of changed, but I didn't mean nothing by it. I'm like,
this business.
Sis, you the one gave me the business. So she was like, well, I migrated from Jamaica and I was here flying back and forth. And she's like, I met him randomly, like at a restaurant. And I was like, God be praised for randomness. So people can know each other through a friend like you, okay, somebody. People can have random. She was like, he was military in town off of duty. She happened to be visiting her people's here locally, and they met. And I thought, isn't that powerful? Because you don't know. Again, based on her age, she met him again while she was grown, and it seemed rather random. So not knowing what they got going on in their household, not knowing any of that, but just as a rough kind of outline, it's good to share with other people where we are sometimes bombarded with messages that nothing like that ever happens.
No, and
you lost it. You didn't get it. He missed the boat. You missed the boat. Dang, y'all, can we just allow the boats to float?
But can I tell you, Suzette, sometimes you can really like go somewhere and be somewhere. You're not even thinking that you're about to change your life. Your entire life is going to change when you meet somebody or see somebody. You may not even like actually meet them initially. You might just be in the room and just like catch their eye, or they catch your eye. You never know where that's going to go. Like, so don't, in the Bible, we say don't despise small beginnings. But the truth of the matter is it could have been a spades game. It could have been a game night. It could have been a concert. It could have been a church service. It could have been a networking social. It could have literally been that somebody needed directions and walked into the place where you work and asked you, could you direct them? And y'all just struck up a conversation.
And there you go. Yeah, we got to be very open, guys.
But be open.
Yes.
Know what you want, just like business. If you know what you want and you know what you're putting out there, then you should be able to see how you're going to get a return of investment on your own relationships.
I love it. We're digressing a little bit with the topic, y'all. Doug talking about, I see a common theme with Suzette's married guests. They all meet some way in the church. I have never spoken to you ever, right? This is our first time speaking. So there's no way I would know that. But it's interesting because I always feel like it's way too many women and not enough men in church. But hey, Doug, you might be onto something. It's a very unplanned. Renata said she's very married.
Very.
Cool. Adrian is talking about the book. Adrian Bell says, great read for those ready to or hesitating to start. Hello. Sometimes you just have to hit the activate. We're going to get into it. Written by Genevieve Carvil-Harris. Listen, they are excited about the book. We're going to talk about the book in just a second. I want to say hi to my people. They're excited. I'm glad. I'm so glad. Wonderful 34 in the building. Yeah, don't. My toes was barking. I was like, I cannot continue to wear sandals, justifiably at this stage. I had put, when you miss an appointment, but then you paint it on your own, trying to hold up to the next appointment. That's where I was. And the painting myself was chipping.
Paint, Suzette, what?
I had to. It was so busy. I couldn't go to an appointment till today. And I made it late and afterward, and I was like, I gotta go. So I wasn't gonna break it. I was like, sorry guys, I have to go a little later. But we gotta do what we gotta do. This is life. Yeah. But snuck it in, snuck Mom Dukes in as well, to get her right. But yes, we got so many comments. I love the comment section. Appreciate you guys. Talking generally about crowdfunding, but I also want to talk to you again in your personal walk, because I think sometimes, again, we're fed a lot of messages that say women are either this type of woman or another type of woman, as if we cannot be both. Desirous of a relationship and loving, affectionate, nurturing, and supportive.
Absolutely.
As they say here, cooperative, all those things, my Lord. And then you also present, and again, to start your own platform takes a lot of work, takes a lot of guts.
Yep.
You have to be go-getter, some would say assertive, and just, focused. So, okay, can those two things be in the same body? And how do you balance those things? Because again, it seems as if there's a kind of this narrative and story around, we are only this or we're that. How do you balance?
No. What I find is that, and I tell people this all the time, money does not change people. It amplifies behavior. So if you are a jerk when you're broke, you're going to be a bigger jerk when you get broke. And if you are a jerk before power, when you get power, you're going to be a bigger jerk. And so what we have to understand is a lot of times when people are kind of putting this pressure on us as women, people say you're not feminine enough, or, I don't know, you're not as domestic, or you're not going to be able to have a husband. Nobody's going to want to marry you. You have so much going on. You have so many things going on. Right now, a lot of people tell me I'm not pregnant yet, or I don't have children yet because I'm so busy. When really, I don't think that you have to have one or the other. For me, I am choosing to invest in the future of my children by making sure that when they're born and when I raise them, if I adopt with my husband, that they are going to live in a space where poverty is not their portion, where they understand that they can grow and develop their ideas into things that can be lucrative for them, that they can eat what they create. And so that's the way that I am. I find myself finding balance because I know what I want in life. And I think that sounds so simple to people, but it really is a deep down dive that you have to take within yourself that says, do I really want someone? If I'm a type A personality, do I really want to be married to a type A personality? Do I want two type A's in the house? Like, that's the truth. You have to be able to balance your life by making sure that everything in it is complementing each other. When you try to have things that clash, I think about it like the movie with, I think it was Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man.
Yes.
Taraji's character was trying to figure out if she was going to be with Morris Chestnut or Michael Ealy. He was very accomplished in his own right, but she thought that she wanted the person that looked the part to her, because we have that. We have social media and different people feeding us an image of what our significant other is supposed to look like, when really you need to be choosing to be with someone who is not going to make you feel less than, is not going to make you feel like once you get married that your life ends and his is the only one that matters. One that can invest in you and see that you're growing just by the time that you spend together, or the way that you look at each other, or just, anything that makes sense to you to make your day a little lighter, your load a little lighter. You have to be very intentional about your space and what you allow in it. We like to say no new friends unless it's love related. Then we just accept anything, right? So that we that we're not single anymore. And now you're miserable and you wish you would have got some new friends, because this might not be the one.
Right. Right. You said, girl, I'm listening. I'm like listening, reading the comments. I'm like, God, you're saying a whole lot. Because again, there's so many boxes that I think people want to put people in. Yes, well said, says Wonderful 34. Adrian is like, great stuff, because I think sometimes we can't get down on ourselves living by the expectations of others. We have to find our own desire, and I'm just, even in my own mind, processing in my own life what you're talking about. Absolutely. And when you found your husband because you were doing what you enjoyed and what you liked and what you were into, a lot of people don't know what their joy comes from, or where they're, and you got to spend time looking at that, because it's difficult sometimes if you're not in, I guess, synergy, is what you call
Yeah,
it, complementing
absolutely.
one another's strengths, one another's desires,
Yes,
long term and short term.
absolutely.
There's a lot there that I think sometimes people want to skip in the process.
Yep.
I don't know if it's based on love, more like lust, but I
Mhm.
think if you're thinking long term,
Yeah. Because
Renata,
people change. People
somebody stay
change.
out her ovaries.
Listen,
Period. Let's go.
it's the truth. People change, they really
Yes.
do. And a
Yes.
lot of times people will choose the version of you that they met, and they want to hold you to the version of you that they met. And one of the things that I tell, newly married couples or people when I'm getting ready to like perform their weddings or their marriage counseling, I preach too. So,
Oh,
um,
okay. I can tell. Yes.
so when I'm getting ready to perform like their weddings or their marriage counseling, what I say to them is that my husband and I literally we treat our anniversary like here is the celebration of the day that we got married, and guess what? I made it another year liking the person you were this year. Now let's hope
Oh.
that's going to happen again next year. Let's work to make sure that we make it to this place again where we can celebrate another year of loving who you are this year, because my husband and I are not the same people that got
Mm.
married at that
10, 13 years later, no, ma'am.
we're not
That's
that
good wisdom. Because a lot of people do
yeah,
want you to stay in the same place
yeah,
mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And it can be very difficult when one person is growing and another person is kind of stagnant.
yep,
So finding that synergy as well,
yep,
love of learning, love of growth,
yes, that's so
understanding that
important.
what you're bringing is a very deep philosophy that I think a lot of people, again, starting out, I'm in love, I love him, and he's amazing, and all that.
Yeah,
But the principled person, the person that likes to read or doesn't like to read, the person that likes to,
yeah,
uh, you know, become more enlightened in whatever way,
yeah,
it is the more of the value
yep,
than the person who is just like, babe, I'm just in love. I'm like, I'm glad you're in
absolutely.
love too.
Because when that
But
love is over, because
yes,
sometimes, I try to tell people when you get married and you say that you want to get married, marriage is going to look like this. It's going to be that this is the person that you cannot see your life without, but almost 2 to 3 times every day you wonder, like, how can I end it all and get away with it? So
no.
it's the way I'm telling you. You just be like, I can just smother you.
Yes.
Then I gotta pray you back because I can't live without you. I need you in my life. I,
Listen,
but
my
that's
my oh,
no.
you're bringing up memories, sis. Ooh.
If
My old hairdresser used to say this all the time. She was telling me, she was like, "You're gonna get to the point, like after that first 4 maybe years,
yeah,
and then if you have a child,
yep,
boom,
yep,
change." But
yep.
even beyond that, she's like, when they talk about what 7 year itch or whatever, she's like,
Oh yeah,
"I've heard every story.
yep,
I've heard every joke.
yep,
I've heard this man tell me the same
yep.
stuff over and over
Over and
again."
over.
And I must learn to appreciate it,
Yes,
not be resentful
yes,
or
yes,
it's like a pain in the neck now. Here you
yes,
go again. No,
yeah.
that's a part of his narrative or what he likes to do when he introduces people or whatever.
Absolutely,
So she was like, it got to be more in terms of your maturity
gotta
to
be
be able to rock with a man, even though you know him inside and out, physically,
absolutely.
emotionally, and other places where again we're not perfect. We're never perfect. We're
No,
not going to either of us going to be perfect, but it's very good insight there. The David Carmena show, good to see you. David says, hey, just showing some love. Just want to make sure I say hi, glad to have you, brother. Adrian says, we change every 7 years. I've heard this. You have to keep falling in love. Yeah, marriage is a lifelong date.
it is.
Ooh,
That's
ooh.
good. That's good.
Pressure, but good. I think
Yeah,
that's a great analogy
that is.
because
That is.
even though we want to, I mean, you sound like, again, you guys are fairly young. You're in the early 20s ish.
Oh,
So
girl,
of
give that
course,
to me. Give that to me.
yeah,
Give that to me. I'm very
yeah,
much so 35 this year.
yeah. I looked at it. I said to myself, well, that person, because some people say, oh, if you're too young, you can't survive it. But you can if you do this, what Adrian
Absolutely.
is pointing out, which is that we change. We have different likes. We have different, growth phases in different parts of our lives. So
Yeah.
accepting that person for that growth,
Yep.
loving that person
Yep.
through it,
Yes.
right? and allowing that person to become a new version of themselves, super, super important. Very good word. Yes, Renata, this is but people run into this. If they're not growing, something is wrong. But it's easy to say, but I've heard stories, people run into this, unfortunately, where they're on a different trajectory mentally, and the person is kind of like not keeping up, if you will. I'm not talking about money game. I'm talking about emotional growth,
Absolutely right.
mental, psychological kind of growth and understanding of each other, right, in a relationship. But yeah, that's what we want, y'all. If y'all liking what we're talking about here, go ahead and share.
I love it.
I think it's super important because, again, people get discouraged by what we're hearing all over this, space. So to pivot just back to what we started out with, y'all, if you're just joining, hit the like button. We got a little into a different direction, but I think it's good.
It's called investing in your future. That's what we
in every way.
In your future.
Every way. To talk about that crowdfunding piece when it comes to women, do you find a lot of women in the space? Do you find a lot of women involved, whether trying to raise money for a business or in any way?
Okay, so let me just take you a little bit through history, not too much. Before the Jobs Act of 2012, the only way that you could really invest was that you had to be an accredited investor. So you used to have to make like $250,000 a year. There were all these strict regulations. And during the Obama administration, there was the Jobs Act, which allowed for people who were non-accredited investors, which means that these are retail investors. So these are non-professional investors like us who may have 401ks or just invest in securities through a brokerage firm. We're allowed now to actually invest in this big business. Now, because of that, and because of all of the strict regulations previously, before 2012, a lot of people of color in general were not at the table. And Black men actually made up about 2% of the entire pie graph of how these different, percentages of wealth and how we were breaking down specifically in crowdfunding, our presence, our seat at the table. We had 2%, and that was Black men. So Black women weren't present at all until about the pandemic. We started to see a swing of people of color, in particular Black women, raising capital, i.e. Slutty Vegan. We also have Miss Dawkins, I believe her name is. I can't remember what her company was, but she was the first one. She was the first woman of color. I think her name is Dion Dawkins, if I'm not mistaken. Dion Dawkins was the first woman of color to raise over $1 million in crowdfunding, and that was in 2020. So we're just now starting to see a wave of African American women in this space, but previously it was not so. You're talking about 3 years ago that we just had the first African American woman raise over $1 million, and then after her became Slutty Vegan with Pinky doing it. And so we're starting to see a wave, but that's why it's so important to me for me to bring this up to everyone and let them know that this is something that is available to us. We just have to get educated about it, get some help, and actually start putting ourselves out there more so we can have successful campaigns. But successful campaigns come from knowing your message, knowing your audience, and marketing correctly.
Yes, there's so many ways this can be applied in various stages of life, for various purposes, guys. You guys have to check out her website. Go to momentsintomillions.com. If you are interested in crowdfunding in any way, clearly you have done the work. You have been kind of in the trenches yourself through your own company, formulating your own company through crowdfunding, now helping others to crowdfund. Let's go. So not only giving the knowledge, but having lived that experience, I think is super, super, super important. So final tips from you, my love, that people can use in going into this crowdfunding journey.
It's so funny. I would say, if you know me, then you'll hear me say activate. You have to activate. What I mean by that is everybody likes gift cards. Who doesn't? Give me a Starbucks gift card any day. But what happens is I can give you the value of a card And if I don't activate the card, I'm never going to be able to use it. And I'll keep even getting error messages, maybe even denials about the fact that it's not working for me. And it won't work unless it's activated. Your business, your goal, your vision, your dream has to be activated first. You have to put yourself in a place where you say, what is it going to take for me to make this very real dream in my mind come into a tangible reality for other people who need it? And just as we said before, that means that you need to have a clear message. You need to know what the problem is that you're solving. You need to know who you're solving it for and how to best reach those people. Because honestly, in business, all you're saying is, I need to tell more people about my solution. And in crowdfunding, not only can you tell them what's in it for them, they'll give you the money that you need if they know what's in it for them, whether that's a t-shirt, whether that's access to your concert or your mixer or your social gathering, or whether that's a consultation, whatever it is that you deem to be a reward or even greater equity, what are they investing in and what's in it for them? Once you know those things, you'll be successful.
I'm loving it. I'm just taking it in. You brought your fam. Hey, Glenn Payne says, Coach Jen, how are you? Ace Butterfly, catching you live. How are you? Ace says, Wagwan. Yes, no problem. Catch the replay, girl. This was a very good show. We're getting to her book. I just wanted you to plug the book. Everybody's talking about the book in the chat. Thank you for being here. Happy New Year to you too, Ace. And if anybody else has any final questions, please ask them now. But I'm so excited to have all this great information because, again, the various ways we can apply it. Absolutely. I said women, but men and women. Clearly, if we were only 2% Black men,
2%.
That's so nothing in this type of capital game. Shout out to Shark Tank too for bringing it to the masses so that we can understand. Oh, this is how we do business. No one teaches us that, and again, we can get into the rabbit hole as to why we don't learn about money in high school and college and all over the place. Okay, fine. But side note, guys, just think about getting her book. Think about reaching out to her directly. If this is something that you're really serious about and want that type of help in doing. So do you coach people when it comes to the reward based? Mm-hmm. Okay, so how to set up your stuff, how to.
Yep. So we weren't doing that initially only because you can imagine all the time that went into getting government approval, right?
You want the equity base. I get it.
We just knew that people knew, and we just were late to the party. And what we found was that people were so excited, but when we started to look over what they had to present, we would tell them, oh, wait, you want equity, but you're not ready, honey. Go to reward. And getting ready for rewards, we may need to go back and do a deep dive into your mission and to your vision. And are you really serving the right target audience? And does anybody know what you do?
And as they say, is it investable? As they say on Shark Tank, I want to help you, but is this an investment? Maybe you should just give me a reward.
Right.
So let me ask you that. When you're doing something like this for a company, does it have to be advertised like a separate funds kind of thing when you're doing a reward base, or is it you also just putting into your like general revenues for your business? That's maybe too technical.
It's going to be, it's really going to be taxable the same way as revenue in your business.
Okay, just curious. My mind is ticking.
Because this and on platforms like clearly I have Crowd Wall Street, so of course I'm always going to plug Crowd Wall Street. But for those of you that want to look and see other people, this is like Kickstarter, Indiegogo. This is something that has been in existence. We just started because we
getting into it.
People that look like us did not even know how to do it, and none of these other platforms are going to walk you through, teach, or coach you on how to be successful.
Fantastic. I love it. You guys, I hope you're getting some good info. Y'all hit the like button, share if you're enjoying this type of content. We're trying to teach here tonight. So finally, you have a book. Tell us about the book. It's called Activate. Tell us more about your book, love.
Activate. And as I was saying just a little bit earlier, I took that gift card analogy of activating the gift card and realized that our lives are the same way. Sometimes we're like, oh my goodness, I thought I was supposed to do something. Suzette went through law school. I started law school and realized that wasn't for me. I was like, this is not what it is. I need to figure out what I'm supposed to do. And then so I left law school, started doing community development, started saying that, wait a minute, I like to help people attract and sustain money in their lives through business. And so that's what I really started doing capacity building. And so the book leads us through how you can start to activate your own life. It's called Activate Secrets to Living a Supercharged Life. And that supercharged life is the life that you can be proud of, excited about, and let other people know, hey, I know that I'm living on purpose, in purpose, and that this is not just some philosophical babble that I learned, but I actually like my life. I don't have to wake up every day and wonder why I hate going to work every day. Reassess, reevaluate. Maybe you don't need to leave your job. Maybe you need to be an activated person on that job, operating in purpose on your 9-to-5, making that company better. Or maybe it's time that you leave and figure out where else you need to better serve. And so that's what Activate is. And I love it. I love how people have been responding to it.
Love you, sis. This is like speaking my language here, because again, so many people, when I was doing my conferences and stuff, wasn't an anti-anybody, anti-man, anti-nothing. No, I saw people, especially among my sisters, people who needed healing, people who couldn't move forward, stuck. When I say stuck emotionally, business-wise. And my heart was hurting seeing them hurt, that they were not able to mature, evolve, right? And step into loving relationships, businesses, any kind of application is what you're talking about. So no matter what, that comes back to my kind of core, even though I talk about everything over here, it comes back to my kind of core, which is what you're saying through the book, is to step out, figure out what is the blockage, start the movement, get around people who can support, cheer you on. But a lot of times we run and we hide and we're afraid. So I can assure you, when it comes to those type of conversations, maybe this is a good starting place. Since you're watching, take it as a little sign.
This is that you've been waiting for.
Let's go. And that's real. We want people to live fully, live open, live free, and prosperous as much as possible. That's what we really want. So whether it's through her watching things like this on this platform, however we can help people get to that in all aspects of their life, we want to feed you guys. So if you have enjoyed today, I know I have, the secrets of crowdfunding, support the stream, like, comment. Let me see if there's any final questions before we go. Glenn, talking about teach it, break it down. Let's go. Need that book. Me too. Do you have an audio version by chance? I'm a very big audio person.
No, people have asked me, so that may be the work that I do this year. I'm going
okay. Sorry, just curious. I get through a lot of books that way.
That's fine with me.
Like listening and working is my thing now, because sometimes I can't. At night, you start a book and you're like, so I watch Netflix.
Me too.
Sorry, not that big of a scholar, but listening to it, I love it. But again, that's our website, y'all. It's in the description. Did I put the Amazon link for the book? I'm going to try to do that as well. Put it back in the description. Okay. Yes, they're asking. So go to her website, momentsIntoMillions.com. And they are asking, where can they purchase it?
On
Amazon. Okay, so I'll make sure to get that Amazon link. Yes, this is what's happening. People are too busy to be introspective, girl. It is a hard thing that we have to realize. Lent is coming up. Lent is big for me as well. If you're not religious, maybe just 1 week of a simple fast. I want to encourage somebody to get quiet, and it doesn't have to be fast in terms of food. It can be fast from social media. It can be fast from, whatever stressors and distractions you have that in your own walk is keeping you from focusing on, what do I really want inside? That's why I'm quiet right now. People are like, where your next thing? Don't worry about that, sis. When I'm ready, God is dealing with me. And I really wanted to honor that and say, okay, introspectively, where am I right now? Just because you've always done the same thing don't mean you have to keep doing it. No. It can be different. It can be a different application, or it can be something totally unexpected.
Absolutely.
So we give ourselves space in 2023 to be different, grow, try new things, and not just be busy. Thank you, Ace, for busy's sake. Right? As they say, busy doesn't mean progress.
Right.
So we got to be very careful with that. Hey, man, Jarrell, good to see you, brother. It's been a minute. Love me some Mandrell 211. Glad to have you here listening in. Yes, Jen, get it, get on it. He's saying, let's get the audiobook. Okay, cool.
I get on.
Yes,
I
she
will.
has one. You got to look at it. Go back and watch Team Replay, Ace. Her. Would you consider your company is an app? No.
No, it's not an app yet. We have to try to see what FINRA and SEC will allow. But what's good is that FINRA and SEC, they regulate the equity, but that the reward base that I was telling you all about, that one is not regulated by them. So it might be easier to get the app for the reward base. So we'll probably look into that.
I love it. Okay, Andrew says I'll buy the book always. He's such a supportive speaker.
I appreciate it.
Andrew got everybody book who ever been on here. Thank you, Andrew.
I love that.
My brother always supporting all of our authors. Appreciate you. It's a great read. Awesome. Thank you, Adrian. Kimo, good to have you, brother. Happy to see you in the chat as well. No problem, Ace. That's okay. Glad you mentioned it, but definitely check out her company, Crowd Wall Street. Crowd Wall Street. Okay. She is a woman that is balancing, yes, that personal as well as professional. We can do this. Yes, and sharing her knowledge with everyone, because her joy, it sounds like, is just to see people get to where they want to go. So it is a beautiful thing to have this type of discussion with a lady like yourself. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Don't forget, we are live again tomorrow. I'm going to be sitting down with, she calls herself the Minister of Art, the Minister of Art, Miss Alfrina Musa. If you're in Miami, you probably see one of her paintings in and around some of these shows going on down here. Seen her doing her thing for a long time, and I can't wait to have, she also has an event coming up here in February, but can't wait to have her on tomorrow, 7:30. Let me know. But thank you, y'all. Give it up for Miss Genevieve Carvil-Harris. Get the book, Activate, check out Crowd Wall Street and her website again for all fantastic resources that she's talked about here tonight. Here you go one last time. Moments into Millions. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another great episode of the Suzette Speak Show. Thanks again for liking, commenting, and sharing, and I'll see you guys real soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye now.